Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. And I'm Mike Amos, and with us today, new Trojan head football coach Chip Lindsey. I thought I was going to fool you with it this morning,
that's
Coach.
all right. How you doing?
And of course, Bill Rice Jr. joined us also, and we appreciate Mike Amos calling in. Feel like we're talking in a tunnel this morning, but we're going to get it straightened out in just a few moments. And of course, Coach, welcome to Troy, Alabama.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Of course, you've been welcomed several times, but not on this show. Now, we did interview you a few weeks ago, and could it be that this cup is between the mic and so forth? There we go. That'll do it. And I know you've been busy.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, but it's been good. It's been a good 4 months, and got through T-Day Saturday, and I like the direction we're headed.
Yeah. How life can change. How life can change. You were the offensive coordinator at Auburn for the last 2 years. Then you head out west to be the offensive coordinator at Kansas, and with Les Miles, and I know that had to be inspiring, because if you could win out there, you could win anywhere.
Right.
At Kansas, even though it's a beautiful place, and I mean, if it was basketball, you'd be in heaven, wouldn't
you? No doubt. Yeah, I went to a couple games. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, but how life can change, and you found the house that you loved out there and get to move in, and somebody pick up the phone and say, "Hey, would you like the Troy job? Are you interested in the Troy job?"
Yeah, it was interesting. It's just the life of a coach, I guess. But everything works out like it's supposed to, and I'm just thrilled to be back here and be the head coach at a place like Troy.
Yeah. I go back with you even further than you think. Coach Frank Sadler was my high school coach, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something a lot of people don't know. You on his staff at one time, weren't you?
I was. My first real football coaching job was student assistant while I was finishing college with Coach Sadler at Bob Jones High School.
And if you liked the veer offense, he could teach it as well as anybody, couldn't he?
He did. We ran the veer, but we also had a pro-style passing
game.
And he knew a lot about throwing it. I think he had, Sterling Sharp.
Exactly.
We did. He was a lot of fun to work for.
He's now living in a assisted living facility in Chattanooga, and we try to talk to him as much as possible and so forth. But I mean, how life can change overnight with you, and of course, like you said, you got your start. But now you actually were the baseball coach at one time. Is that right?
Yeah, got into high school coaching, and they'll give you a baseball job at an early age.
Right.
Nobody wants it. So I did that for 7 years, and I always was an assistant football coach at the same time. I knew I wanted to be a head football coach, and really that was my dream, to be a high school head football coach. And as it all played out, after about 7 years, I decided to really focus on trying to get that. And a year later, I became a head coach for the first time.
Of course, Bob Jones, a very good program. I always thought their practice facility was one of the nicest I've ever seen in high school. And of course, Coach Sadler had a lot to do with that. I used to drop in and see him every now and then and talk, give a fire-up talk with his team. Now, he could fire folks up about as good as anybody, And, that's the key to high school kids. You got to get that heart beating fast. You got to fire them up. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I think high school or college, you got to motivate your guys to do the things you want them to do, and I think that's part of being a good coach, is being able to motivate guys.
Well, this is your life, Chip Lindsey. It started, of course, growing up in Huntsville, and tell us about what happened.
Well, I think my mom was a school teacher. My dad was a former high school coach, and it's kind of the only thing I ever wanted to do was be a coach. I didn't know it'd be in college. I just thought it'd be in high school, but things kind of played out for me, and I was able to get an opportunity to get in college football, and now it's the life I live, and I enjoy every minute of it, and I've really enjoyed coming to work every day.
Where were your parents from? Were they from Huntsville? Did you grow up in Huntsville?
My mom's from Huntsville, and my dad is from the Shoals area, Sheffield.
Yeah, of course, Dennis Holman and the Wizard of Oz, Ozzie Newsome, Leeton, Alabama.
Did you know the Pattons, Jack Patton?
I know who they are. I don't know them personally, but
he was
I know who they are.
Teammate of my dad's at Alabama that was later became
Dennis Holman and my dad were teammates
Yeah.
in middle school, and my dad, Muscle Shoals High School,
That's
started,
right.
and Dennis went there, and my dad stayed at Sheffield.
Uh-huh.
So, I've known those guys for a long time.
And Deshler, Tuscumbia, pretty
Yeah.
good football in there. And, of course, North Alabama. You went to North Alabama. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Went over there in 1992 before they had cell phones and Twitter and the internet and all that. Didn't realize they changed the offenses to the triple option when I got there. I was a receiver. Lucky I got to play in every game, and just decided we didn't throw it enough, so I left there and went to school in Alabama and finished school there.
Yeah. Of course, your coaching career out of high school, where did you coach first?
Yeah, my first job was at Springville High School, right outside
Yeah,
of Birmingham.
know it well. Yeah.
I was in 1998. We went. Well, I was the head baseball coach. That's my first job, real job, and we got beat by GW Long.
Yeah, they're pretty good too. I think they won more baseball championships than anybody in the state.
They beat us in the finals. They swept
Yeah.
us, and they were really. We had a good team.
Yeah.
We had good pitching, but we did that, and then went back into the Huntsville area. Stayed there for a few years. Ended up at Deshler, and
Deshler High School of Tuscumbia, one of my great names of all time in football.
And then did that, and worked my way. Ended up at Hoover High School, and was an offensive coordinator there in 2007 with Wes Probst. He was the head coach, and went to Lassiter High School for 2 years as the head coach, and then came to Troy. That's how I got into college.
Remember that Lassiter High School had one of the finest marching bands. I had a friend of mine used to brag all the time. He said, "Man, if we judged a team by the band, we'd win every time." But being in Atlanta as a young coach was fun, wasn't it?
It was, and Lassiter's a great school, a great community, and you're right. The band director, one of the first days I was there, he asked me, he said, "Why would you come here to coach football? It's a band school and baseball school." And it was fun to go somewhere where they hadn't been very good.
Exactly.
We had 2 great years there.
That's what I'm interested, Coach, as far as when you went to Troy in 2010, as far as the talent level now in 2019. I mean, what's the difference you see as far as players at Troy? I mean, I know in 2010 y'all won the Sun Belt and blew out at Ohio.
Probably one of the best games I've ever seen Troy play.
Overall talent now is the best you've ever seen.
Well, I mean, I don't know. We had a lot of really good players then. If you remember, Corey Robinson was pretty good, and we had Jarrell Jernigan who played in the NFL.
And that game I thought was one of the best games Troy's ever played. I mean, it was almost perfect if you remember.
Really well.
I mean, we beat a good team and could have scored 60 on them probably.
I think. I mean, obviously, I like our team now and I like our players, but that 2010 team was really talented. DeJuan Harris, NFL running back. Sean Southward. We had some really good players, so I can't say that I don't want to take anything away from that 2010 team. It was pretty talented.
Well, Coach,
I think people don't kind of forget about what kind of player Corey Robinson was. I mean, he was a phenomenal quarterback.
He really was. I got him his first year really as a starter, and people have. I mean, he was one of the toughest guys I've ever coached, and obviously he had really good talent. He could really throw it. But he lined up and played every Saturday, whether he felt good or not, and really epitomizes, I think, what Troy's all about.
Well, he had a stat that was just unreal coming out of high school. He had thrown, how many touchdown passes was it?
91.
91 in one season. 91 touchdown passes.
Yeah, he played up
Which
there in
phenomenal.
Kentucky, and they went to the state finals. And,
Yeah.
I mean, they threw it every down, and he did a great job. He had a great career here, obviously, the all-time leading passer here. So.
Well, and during this time,
against UAB, he went 29 for 31.
Yeah.
and scored on the last play of the game. Do you remember that?
Yes.
To the great wide receiver. Everybody in the stadium knew what he was going to do, and he was able to do it.
Yeah.
And the receiver was a great one too, and made it to win that ball game. If you remember.
I remember that. Yeah.
And of course, Coach, you jumped on the subject with Coach Probst, and so you've got a little Tony Franklin in you, you got a little Mummy in you, and you can sort of take pride in that. From Valdosta State University in Valdosta, Georgia, man, what a football legacy! All the guys that came out of there, Mike. Name a few of them, Mike.
Well, you had let's see, Mummy, Mike Leach. You had Kurt Kirby Smart, Will Muschamp.
Dana Holgerson was there at one time. They've had a lot of good.
The coach at Sanford was there.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Chris Hatcher. Yep.
Yeah,
they were all
that's
there.
right.
Yep.
Are you and Hatcher friends?
We are. Very good.
Y'all remind me a lot of each other. The Hatcher is an offensive guru, though,
He's
isn't
a
he?
good coach. We're trying to get together in May, actually, and talk some football and maybe play some golf. He's
Yeah.
a great guy. I've been friends with him a long time.
Yeah. And but isn't it amazing what Mummy? I reckon Mummy started. I can remember the first game they ever played.
Versus Louisville.
Yeah, at Valdosta.
Oh, at Valdosta,
Yeah, at
yeah.
Valdosta. You know, they beat Troy early, beat Coach Bradshaw's team early when
Did
they first
they?
started.
Did they?
Probably the best single football town in America. When you say that, Valdosta,
Yeah.
Georgia.
Traditionally, man, I tell you what. And I recruited that area when I was at Auburn, and a lot of really good players there. I mean, Valdosta is getting it back rolling again,
Yeah.
but Coach Mummy and those guys, I think they changed the way that college football's
Yeah.
played.
It was really amazing, and some of the other coaches I know were good friends with a longtime scout. He was one of the first coaches there at Valdosta, but I can just remember that. But so your background with of course Probst and it was Probst. What was his relationship with Mummy?
Yeah, I think my relationship started in the early 2000s, just watching Coach Mummy and those guys from Kentucky, and then as time went on, I got to know Tony Franklin, who came here and kind of started this trend of offense here.
Were you here with?
No, I wasn't.
Franklin?
Neil came with him, and then when Neil left, I replaced Neil in 2010. But he changed it.
And at one time, you and Neil and y'all's families were real good friends. Is that right?
Yeah. I've been friends with Neil a long time.
And Neil says, "Look, I'm leaving Troy. Take my house."
I did. Bought his house too.
Hey,
That's the way it works in this coaching profession. You just, you don't even use a realtor. You just call
The
it.
coach, the smartest thing you did when you moved to Troy, and I'm being facetious here now, was buy a house in a gated community. And I joke about this now, but the gated community means that a moving van truck can't go in there
Yeah,
and park
I
it.
hope not.
You've heard that old saying that the coach don't win. Next Saturday morning he sees
That's happened a couple of times. I'm
he
afraid.
sees a moving van truck.
I tell you what, I hope I get to stay a long time. I like it, and it's a good house, and we've enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, nice area, Troy, and you watched Troy, of course, even when you were in high school and college, and going Division I was a big thing for Troy. Troy went Division I. Their big rivals, Jacksonville and North Alabama, and Livingston, they didn't go Division I-A. That was one of the best decisions Troy's ever made, wouldn't you say?
I would say so. I remember in 1992 playing Troy when I was playing at North Alabama.
Yeah.
They were either making the transition to 1AA maybe at that time, and I just remember us playing them, and they had really good players at that time too, and definitely that was something that looking back turned out to be a great move for Troy.
Something that is amazing. I go way back, all the way back to Clemson, and Clemson coached all the way up until 65, and then Billy Atkins came in and did wonderful things for 7 years. And then after he left, you had Tom Jones, and you had who was a phenomenal coach, at Robert E. Lee High School in Montgomery, and then later Auburn's, and then of course the other one was
Coach Bradshaw.
No, before him.
Bradshaw.
And, oh gosh, very very good coach. Former, he coached at Auburn and coached at Georgia prior to this, but then comes Bradshaw, and he stays about 8 to 10 years. And then Chan Gailey comes to town, which, with an no huddle wishbone, and that no huddle wishbone won a few national championships.
He did a great
And then
job.
Rick Rhodes, the guy that you know pretty well.
Yeah, I do.
And of course, then after Rick Rhodes, Robert Maddox. And then after Robert Maddox comes Larry Blakeney, who was here for 25 years. And you had a great respect and learned a lot of football from Larry Blakeney.
Sure did. He was a guy that gave me my first opportunity in college football. We got him down here about 3 weeks ago, and he hung out with me all day and toured the new facility and stayed at practice. And we actually lived in the same neighborhood in Auburn, so we've been close a long time. Really enjoyed being around Coach.
I've got a question for Coach. We've talked about this, Mike. I wrote a column on Troy going Division
You sure
I,
did.
and it was kind of controversial at the time. But I predicted that Troy would do fine, that they would be able to compete at this level, that they would beat some of the big boys from time to time. And one of the reasons I made in that column, I said, Troy is in the middle of a great recruiting territory.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other big schools, they're limited in scholarships, so there's plenty of players. And then Troy also had the tradition. But what are some of the reasons you think that Troy has been able to compete and continue to compete at this level?
Well, I think Larry Blakeney's the first reason. I mean, he's a guy that transitioned us from, I guess, Division 1AA.
That's right. Division. That's right.
Division 2.
Division 2 to Division 1AA, then to Division 1.
Coach Blakeney, if you've been around him long, he had that personality where, he made you want to come play for him. And then you draw a circle, a 6-hour radius around Troy, which is what you think is driving distance for kids. Yeah. There's a lot of players in that area. And obviously now there's more schools and there's more competition for players. But at that time, it was a great opportunity. And I think the leadership at Troy took advantage of the right time, the right place, and obviously it's been really successful.
I'll tell you the big, I was one of those believers that we could do this, and not only would it be great for our school and our program, and our school would grow and our community would grow, and it has. It's done both those things. But I think, of course, you're sitting right here. You got Florida. You got Georgia, who might be playing better football than anybody right now.
Sure.
And then, of course, Alabama, and then you got Mississippi, and then you got Mississippi junior colleges.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a better recruiting area in the country than that.
No, I think so. And like you're saying, you draw a 6-hour radius, and you can get a lot of players. And now we have facilities. We got a great college.
Beautiful facility.
I meet with these parents, several of them. We had several junior days this spring, and I sit down with them, and all of them, almost to each and every one, say, I had no idea this place was
exactly.
So
no question about it.
So we got a lot of good things going right now, and in all our sports, our athletic department, our leadership's outstanding.
So. Coach, I'm going to throw one word out: 25 scholarships. Troy has 25. Auburn has 25. Florida State has 25. Every major college has 25 scholarships. Mm-hmm. Hey. There are enough players in the state of Florida to pretty much dress out every team in the SEC with new players, wouldn't you think?
I think so, But there are more schools now. It's more competition. You have a couple here in the state. You have Georgia's got a few more now. Georgia Southern obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of competition. Recruiting's as competitive now as it's ever been.
And when Appalachian and Georgia Southern came in, that really strengthened the Sun Belt Conference. I mean, to go with Arkansas State, and of course Louisiana Lafayette's always been good, and Troy's always had trouble with Monroe. But what I'm saying, you look at this Sun Belt Conference, I think it's better than most of the other conferences.
And the fans can identify with these programs. They're regional. It's like the old Gulf South Conference in a way.
It's a great conference. Much better even than 9 years ago when I was here the first time. It's as strong as it's ever been. I really believe we're one of the top group of 5 conferences in the country. And when you talk about App State, Georgia Southern, you talk about Georgia State, who's getting better.
Yeah, exactly.
South Alabama, Arkansas State, Monroe. It's just a really competitive league. And then you got Coastal Carolina.
Exactly. And they're going to be really good. You look at their facilities, and they're going to be. You're exactly right. And of course, it's a great opportunity for you. Your first college.
I actually followed you in Birmingham. You left Troy and decided to go back to the high school ranks and coaching at Spain Park. What was your experience like there? I know you coached a really good quarterback there that went on to Southern Miss, and of course is playing for the 49ers now.
Yeah, I just, at that time my wife was making all the money, to be honest with you. She was in pharmaceutical sales and had 4 young kids, and, she got an opportunity there in Birmingham, probably we couldn't turn down. So Spain Park job happened to be open, and I was really excited to be there. I loved being there, and I got a chance to coach Nick Mullins, who was my quarterback there for 2 years, and I ended up coaching him 2 years at Southern Miss later.
How about that?
Were you coaching in the rain when Troy played y'all in the rain? Were you at Southern at the time, or did you already go to?
No, I was already gone.
You had already gone.
I was there in 14 and 15.
Of course, that was a big win for Troy, and of course we're gonna play them on the 14th coming up. That's gonna be fun too. But now, of course, so then. Your first coaching job, real coaching job, was at Southern Miss, and then where'd you go from there?
Yeah, so after I left Troy, went to Spain Park for 2, and Coach Malzahn hired me back at Auburn as what they call an analyst, and that was kind of when that was first started.
Sure.
Guys could get in as a way to get back in college football, And really, you know, I met him because he signed one of my players over in Georgia named Philip Lutzenkirk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember
Passed away
Lutzenkirk. He was the one that was
Of
still
course,
in the,
yeah.
And he passed away about in 2014, and I was very, very close to him and his family. And anyway, so I went to Auburn for a year, and really, just you know, kind of feeling my way through the SEC. But I was ready to get back on the field in the coaching position. And Todd Monken hired me at Southern Miss as the offensive coordinator. We ran the same offense here at Troy that he ran at Oklahoma State.
That was good, yeah.
Spain Park, and then he had the quarterback I had in high school there. So it kind of just meshed. We had, and he was in the middle of rebuilding. If you remember, Southern Miss had gone through an 0-12 season.
Yeah.
He came the next year. I think he won 1 his first year. We won 3, and then the next year won 9.
Yeah.
And then what he did is he rebuilt it from the ground up with freshmen and young players, and they played. And by the time they were juniors, we had a pretty good team.
At one time, nobody wanted to play Southern Miss, and we're sort of like that.
Yeah.
We're sort of
I
like
agree.
that. It gets to be, when you start beating these guys, and they beat Alabama and Auburn, they beat a lot of things. Of course, they had a guy named Favre that was pretty
yeah,
good.
wasn't bad.
You know, you know, it's hard to schedule.
Jeff Bauer's kind of like a Larry Blakeney. He was a great coach over there. He didn't get enough credit.
No, he doesn't. And I got to meet him a couple times. Very similar communities, very similar schools, passionate about football, and you know, I've been lucky to hear to coach at two different places that really care about football.
And I really feel like that we're about to bypass them. But at one time, I always said we'll never be an Alabama and Auburn as far as you know, the size of the program and so forth. But we could be another Southern Miss, which is pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
And I mean, I felt like that.
I think everybody thought that was the model. You know,
Yeah.
if Troy can get to where Southern Miss is, that would be great. And
He had a similar background as
Yeah.
Troy. You know, been really good in Division I or NAIA actually, Division II, and all worked their way up. So.
You know, a guy told me the other day the reason Southern Miss has been down a little bit is because all those players from Georgia used to, and Eufaula and East Alabama were driving through Troy to play for Southern Miss. Southern Miss got a lot of players back then and so forth. Of course, after that, you went to Arizona of all places.
Yeah, I just had an opportunity. We had a great year in 15, and the head coach at Arizona State was looking for an
Before we get off of 15, you did something which was phenomenal. Your team rushed and passed for over 6,000 yards, which was unseen.
It was pretty
And
amazing.
that was your job.
We had a 4,000-yard passer, 2 1,000-yard rushers, and a 1,000-yard receiver.
You don't see that much, do you?
It was a special year, but you know, after that year, Arizona State, I got an opportunity to go there and be the offensive coordinator. Todd Graham was the head coach. He had a relationship with Coach Malzahn. They worked together at Tulsa, and so that's kind of the connection.
Everything, football is so much who you know. It's pitiful, isn't it?
Well, one guy recommended, you know, you got buddies in the profession. They call you and they say, hey, who can come and run this offense? And they recommend you. That's kind of how it works.
All right, now you go from a football crazy program here at Troy and in the South to a not so football crazy Arizona. Is that right?
Well, it was probably a little better than I thought, to be honest with you. Todd Graham had gone there and they had struggled, and he'd kind of put some discipline back in the program and got it headed in the right direction. Started going to bowl games. The difference
Todd
is,
Graham is the guy that used to be at Rice. Is that right?
Yeah, he took him to a bowl game.
He went to play Troy.
Was it Troy?
Yeah, Troy. Yeah, Troy beat him pretty good, but he had a real good offensive mind.
He did. He's a defensive coach, but he also, you know, had an offense. He'd coached some offense too, and he was very interesting in it. And he did a great job there. Raised a lot of money, built a new facility, was there. And,
huge school now, probably 40 or 50,000 students.
I think it's one of the biggest in America.
80,000 students.
It might be the biggest school in America in enrollment.
And you know, when we got there, you got to remember.
This is Arizona or Arizona State? Yeah.
And Tempe. And you got to remember those big cities like Phoenix. There's a lot to do. They got pro sports.
Oh,
they got
yeah.
a lot of things. So, you know, in here, you know, it's all about college football. And, you know, in those bigger cities, they got pro sports.
But we always watched you late at night, Coach. You were the last. You were watching those West Coast seasons
My
late
parents
at night.
couldn't stay up that late. So nobody in my family got to watch.
I always say that's the worst. Oregon had the all-time worst uniform, but boy, you'd almost throw up looking at some things Arizona State wore. I mean,
you know, it's all about that flash. And
You catch the great wide receiver that's going in the draft.
yeah, he was a freshman. I actually recruited him. He was committed to us, and when I got there in December, I replaced Mike Norvell, who's now the head coach at Memphis.
Yeah.
And Coach Coach Graham told me, he said, we've got this five-star receiver committed. If we lose him, you'll probably be the shortest tenured offensive coordinator that's ever been here. So I had to really work to hold on to him, and I love N'Keal Harry. He's a great kid. He lived with his grandmother there in Chandler, Arizona, which is a great high school program there.
Yeah.
And we got him there, and his freshman year, I think he's freshman All-American. We caught like 50 or 60, or he caught 58 balls, and really was on his way. And now he's going to probably be a first-round pick this year in the draft.
Well, all right, now, so you're sitting here, you're starting to make a name for yourself.
Right.
And of course, were you offensive coordinator at Arizona State?
Yep, I was.
All right, so you stayed there 1 year or 2 years?
I did. I was there 1 year, and then Coach Malzahn decided that he needed to make a change.
This
there
is
at
Auburn University, Coach Malzahn, yeah.
And he called, and for me, it's a chance to get back in the state and be a coordinator in the SEC.
Did you know him very well?
I did. You know, he signed Philip Lutzenkirk.
Yeah, that's right. And that had a lot to do with it, didn't it?
And I had already worked for him.
Again, it's who you know, and it doesn't hurt that you coach one of the best tight ends in America, you know.
And then I'd already worked for him once, so he knew how I was, and we had a really good relationship.
He's a great guy, as far as just talking to a guy. I mean, he's
and he has the same high school background kind of that you have a little bit, Coach.
We have a very similar background, and he gave me the opportunity to come be an SEC coordinator, so I appreciate that.
At one time you had to coach at Arkansas State to go anywhere, did you?
Who, Joe Hollis?
I mean, all those guys they came through. Did Malzahn come through Arkansas State?
Sure did.
All those guys. And
know,
then the guy Hugh Freeze,
Gus Malzahn,
Yeah.
and Brian Larson. They've had several good ones come through there.
Exactly. Of course.
Does Malzahn really go to the Waffle House after every win? Is that true?
Oh yeah. He loves that. Hey, that's his thing. After
Well, how many Auburn fans are waiting for him on the outside?
they're waiting for him. He does. He likes going there, especially after a win.
Yeah, I don't care what anybody says, what anybody does. Auburn's the wildest football environment in the world. Problem is that the 2 years you were at Auburn, there was no toilet paper. You had to go to Montgomery and Columbus, Georgia to buy toilet paper, didn't you?
I tell you what, we had
Even the
some big
Charmin.
wins.
I mean, they were throwing Charmin up there. In those they did it the other day with their equestrian.
basketball and
No, they should. They were. Yeah.
Well, and we had two of the biggest wins there in history. We beat Georgia and Alabama, #1 team.
Yeah, what would you do with the kick return, the field goal return? What would you do? Were you in the box or were you there?
Yeah, I was in the box that year, and that was in 2013.
You were scared to actually go down on the field, probably, wasn't you? Me, because those folks.
Who made the decision to put that guy back there in the back of the end zone?
Fountain. That was
One of the coach found.
Scott Fountain.
Yeah, I think they just talked it over during the break, and
Yeah.
said we might as well put somebody back here and score.
Exactly right. Let's check this phone call, Mike. I'm gonna put you on hold, and I hope to get back with you. Let's see here. Where's the hold? Yeah, got a hold here. Good morning, you on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Mike, it's Max. How you doing this morning?
Max, we got a special guest this morning. We got Coach
Chip Lindsey.
Lindsey. I'm gonna get it out. Chip Lindsey's our guest this morning, Max, and
I know Coach Lindsey very well.
Hey Max, how you doing?
Doing good, Coach. How you this morning?
Doing well.
Spring game on Saturday.
Yeah, it was good. We had a great turnout. We had a lot of people there. Got through it. No injuries, no major injuries, and
That's major. Yeah.
really excited about. We got a chance. I think we just gotta. You still work in progress somewhat, but really liked what I saw really throughout the whole spring.
Max, if I lose you, I'm going to call you back, but we're going to get this thing set up right here. We're going to put you on hold. Here, we're going to get you on hold, and now we're going from hold to conference to hold to conference, hold. All right, got you still knowing, Max?
I'm here.
Got to get Mike Amos here. I got to go from hold. Coach, I'm sorry about this. This is. And we got you now. Max, you on?
Hello?
Mike, you on? Max Howell, are you on? All right, here we go. One more time. Then I'm going to leave it alone. Coach. All right, here we go. I have nobody really knows how to do this.
Anybody out there want to come in?
If not, well, all right, here we go. All right, here we go. 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. Well, Max, you on? Who is it, Mike? You on?
Yeah, you got me.
All right, Coach. Max, are you on?
No, Max.
Well, he's gone. Is that right? Let's see if that's here. Well, he's off right now. He'll be calling back. But sorry about that.
No.
I've got the information right here, and then what am I going to do right here? There he is, right there. So let's put Mike on hold, and we'll bring Max in. Max, we're going to put you on hold. All right, I got them both here. Now I go from, well, where is it?
Convenience.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Convenience. Line 2.
All right, convenience. Line 2. All right, I got you. Mike, you on?
Yeah.
Max, you on? Uh-oh, Max Howell. Well, when he comes back in, we'll go ahead and get him, Mike. I'll put you on hold, and we'll get it straight the next time he calls in.
All right.
Sorry about that, Coach.
No, it's all right.
I'm the worst in the world, but nobody else seems to know what to do either. You know, we need a new phone, whatever. Steve had gone over this with me before several times. Of course, we're talking with Coach Chip Lindsey, the new head football coach at Troy, and of course, you had a good understudy before you became a head coach. I know your dream was always to be a head coach, but you had an opportunity to work at Auburn around a lot of people.
We did. We had some good coaches there. Coach Malzahn gave me an opportunity, obviously, to be the coordinator in the SEC, and which was a great experience. And a lot of good coaches there, good players. Enjoyed being there.
Yeah, no question. Here we go. Good morning, Max. We got you now, and I'm sorry about this phone tag, but of course, Max Howell calling in from.
Mike, I'm coming down there and speak to Coach Dr. Hawkins and see if we can't work out a communication department, and I'm gonna hire you aboard off.
Well, the problem is probably most anybody else could probably do it, no question about it. But,
I couldn't do it.
Most of the time, I do it. Most of the time, it works eventually. But Mike Amos is on hold. Max, of course, Max Howell calling in from Fulton, Mississippi. You ever been to Fulton, Mississippi?
I have been to Fulton, Mississippi.
Coaches have been everywhere. You know every town in America.
Well,
They got a junior college there.
yeah, name East Toboga, isn't it?
What is it, Etowamba?
Etowamba, no, not
right.
East Toboga, but Etowamba.
The difference is that when Coach goes now, he's already got it all set up. He's got a staff and all. Recall Mike when we were at Troy, it was 3 of us. And when I went on the road recruiting, I had a sack of quarters. I looked for a payphone somewhere to stop and call back. And the only person I had to talk to was Billy.
Well, Coach, somebody said, now, excuse my language here, I'm being facetious, but they said if you want to go to hell, go to scuba.
Well, that was a pretty tough
No,
place.
but what I'm saying, one unbelievable football program in a small town.
All the junior colleges back in those days, Mike. I went to Hines Junior College in 1958. I just turned 18 years old in May and graduated in May. I was the youngest by far. The next youngest guy we had on the team was like 21.
Yeah.
And we had some guys 24, 25 years old. So you're talking about a guy that grew up quick. Yeah, it didn't take long if you come through that program.
Well, and that's the thing too, putting the staff together. You know, I got 2 guys on my staff that recruit the Mississippi junior colleges. They've been coaching in them, and they got experience there. John Carr and Dabron Williams.
Yeah, John. Yeah.
And both those guys have coached in that league. They've recruited that league, so that's good for Troy. You know, we get some guys in there.
They can help you right away. And don't think just Troy goes there. All those schools go there. Alabama and Auburn both go there, don't they?
And, you know, that's the thing. When you get a head job like this, you lose some friends in the process because everybody wants you to hire them, right?
Yeah.
And I've lost a couple. There's some guys that have sent me ugly text messages, but hey, you know what? That's part of it because I had to put together the staff that I thought would fit Troy the best, and that's kind of what I did.
Of course, this new rule on quarterbacks, or the new rule now saying that if you got a year eligibility left, quarterback or whoever can go anywhere he wants to. And of course, you had Stidham for 2 years. How good was he?
Really good player. You know, he came to us from Baylor, and you know, in a totally different offense.
Yeah.
So he had to learn coverages and learn protections, and obviously doing that in the SEC is a tough challenge. And I think he left there throwing for almost 6,000 yards in 2 years.
That was
And
really good. You're right.
I saw the other day he threw like 38 touchdowns and only 11 interceptions in 2 years. That's pretty good.
That's phenomenal.
And, in that league, it don't get a whole lot better than that. So I'm excited by him. He's a great kid. We're still very close. In fact, he came to spring practice here at Troy.
Well, good, yeah.
Watched one day, hung out with my family, and
Now, he'll go in the draft probably, won't he?
yeah, I think so. I don't, who knows where, but
Yeah.
I saw him on ESPN last night. He was on one of these NFL, not a draft show, but there was some competition between SEC prospects and other leagues prospects, and he was on that team. And they interviewed him after it, and I was just so impressed by him. He's incredibly well spoken.
Okay, of course, you were at Auburn, and you had an opportunity to go with Les Miles, and this is going to be a great story. How was it to coach? I mean, the guy's a great coach. People get him wrong. He does some crazy things, but he was a very good coach.
Very good. Hall of Fame coach. For me, I looked at it as an opportunity to be around another great head coach, and that's because I knew I wanted to be a head coach one day. And the more guys you can work with that have been successful, and I was with him for about a month. We're still close. We're still good friends. When I had this opportunity at Troy, he supported me 100%, and he's an interesting guy for sure.
Let me ask you a personal question. Sure. Did you sell your house?
I did. I sold
Good.
it last Friday.
Okay.
Actually, it's a unique story. I sold my house in Auburn in 2 days. The catch was I had to be out by December 31st. And you know how that deal is, Max and Coach, and you're like, that's done. I'll figure it out. So I moved to Kansas because really, to be honest, things had quieted down here, and I thought Neil was going to be here. And then I get to Kansas, and I had to have a place to put my family. You got 4 kids,
sure.
so you can't just live in a hotel.
4 kids, beautiful.
We got to talk about his kids.
Yeah, so I did that. And
Lawrence, Kansas is probably a nice place to live.
Oh, it's very nice. Yeah, it's a great setup. Kansas is a great place. I closed on my house on a Wednesday, moved in on a Friday. Interviewed for the Troy job on Sunday.
I can hear your wife. What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me?
No. She was really excited to get back here. I mean, Troy's very similar to where we grew up in northwest Alabama. So for her, an opportunity to get back closer to her family.
What actual town did you grow up in?
She grew up in Sheffield, Alabama.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I was born in Tuscumbia, Sheffield area. So
how old are your kids?
I got a 15-year-old daughter, Claire. They all go to Pike Lib, and I got twins that are 13 now, Cooper and Caroline, and then I have an 11-year-old son named Connor.
What quarterback that played for Auburn went to Leeton High School?
Phil Gargas.
Phil Gargas, that's right. Phil Gargas is pretty good. And Max Howell's on the phone. Max, what did you see this weekend that you liked?
Listen, I want to tell you, I think the balance is what's going to be the secret to it. And I thought Neil had done a good job recruiting, and I thought he left a good talent base for you.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of you readjusting your offense and defense and make those kids, you got to teach them somewhat of a new system.
Yeah.
And what's running, I'm listening to you guys, what's running through my mind, you're talking about Kansas and Auburn, need to be thinking a little bit about that opening ball game.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Max, I tell you what I see different. The only thing I see different is that he wore a mic and you don't.
Did he?
I mean, he's on a mic, and he coached with a mic.
Oh, I got one at practice.
Yeah,
I just didn't wear it on T-Day.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not a bad way to coach. You
can kind of easily keep the practice rolling or stop the clock and hold it if you need to or whatever. But,
exactly.
It's a great little system that Coach Gong came up with that you can easily talk to the whole team.
Exactly. And of course, the other good thing about Troy was that your chemistry was there already. Of course, you were able to bring in. He took 14 people with him in total. I think that's coaches and personnel and so forth, and you were able to keep some key people.
Yeah, and that was really important to me. I would have kept a few more. I liked them all. I knew all the staff basically, and I was able to keep 4 guys, and I thought that was best for our players. And I told our team the first time I met with them that the number one thing for me is our players. I want our players to have the most success. I want our players to have the best experience here at Troy. And I thought if I kept 4 or 5 of the guys, they had done a really nice job recruiting the state of Alabama and really recruiting in general. And a lot of them are good coaches, and I tried to keep as many as I could, and that's why it took me a little longer to get the staff together because I was trying to wait and see which guys wanted to stay and go for it. And it worked out. I think we kept 4 guys on the staff. We kept Brian Blackman on offense, Cornelius Williams on offense.
Exactly.
We kept Bam Hardman on defense and Brandon Hall. And those are, in my mind, 4 of the better recruiters on that staff.
let me tell you, we lost a good defense coordinator, but everybody just raved over Brandon Hall as a coordinator, and of course he's got he learned under the Clemson
Brent Venables,
Brent Venable, and evidently they're very good friends. But that's an Oklahoma connection.
It is.
I mean, it's amazing about these connections. And
Brandon's got an interesting story. You know, Vic Koning's one of the best it's been. I
great
love
guy,
him. But you know, at the same time, he went with Neil, and
Sure.
so then I started again. What's best for our players? And I thought the transition, having a guy on staff already, was going to be huge. Brandon and I had worked together at Auburn in 2013.
Exactly.
He worked for Coach Malzahn in 2012.
Isn't that amazing?
But yeah, you're right. His connection was he was a GA and an analyst in Oklahoma with Brent Venables for like 8 or 9 years, and we wanted that aggressive, in-your-face kind of defense. And obviously, I played Clemson in 2017 when I was at Auburn.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're pretty good.
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
I like that style of defense, and I think it fits our team.
Yeah, exactly. And but what I'm saying, basically, though, you're still doing pretty much the same thing as they did last year offensively. What changed?
Well,
are you still reading the option?
Yeah, you know, so when Tony Franklin came here in maybe 05 or 06, I'm not exactly sure when that was, Neil was his receiver coach. And then when Tony left, Neil replaced him. And then Kenny Edenfield became the coordinator. He hired me as the quarterback coach. So this offense has really been the same all the way through since Tony first came to Troy. And we all have probably our own little spin of it, our own variation. But I think it's been an easier transition for our players because it's a similar style offense. And we call things a little different maybe than Neil did, but I think it's been a really smooth transition.
You know, Tony Franklin probably had refined what Mummy did a little bit. You know, Mummy started most of this offense when he was at Valdosta. A lot of guys went through it, spread out. And pretty good coach at Washington State. that was a disciple of all of this that was happening in Valdosta, Alabama, or Valdosta, Georgia. What I'm saying.
So a funny story, Max. I was an assistant coach in 2001, I believe, at Deshler High School, and you were doing a show in the evenings then, and you had, I believe you had Hal on there, and I didn't know him at all. And I was driving an hour at that time.
Nobody knew who he was.
And I called in. He had just been lighting it up at Kentucky. I called into your show. You took my call. I was a high school coach, and my question was, do you think the air raid offense, you can win championships with it? Do you think it's going to stick around, or something to that effect? You know. And obviously that was pretty neat. Now I know you on a different level, but. It's
well, you go back and think about that, Coach. Of course, I was 25 years behind that microphone all over the South, and certainly enjoyed every minute of it. But that was as close as people in the way I got out of coaching and went from there to Atlanta. And mind you, that was doing what I did was as close as I could stay to the game without having to worry about that call after midnight.
No doubt.
I agree. I'd gotten to that point in my career. I'd been at Florida State. I'd been at Ole Miss, and down at where you are now, Troy. And had a great career, and really lucky enough, fortunate enough to have some really great programs. I tell people, and I've said it on there, you may have heard that from down there. I never was a smart guy, but I tell you what I could do. I could read a roster.
No doubt.
I tell you where the players are.
No doubt.
And I usually try to end up there, but it was a great career, and of course the last 10 years at Spring Park when I was in Birmingham.
That's right.
And certainly had a chance to watch that. I followed your career, and I hope before we get off today, you can kind of come in a little bit about your opening ball game next time this next fall with Southern Miss, because I know you spent some time there as well.
Well, we're going to play Campbell first here at home. That's our first game. But Southern Miss is going to come on pretty quick. We got a bye week before we play them.
Which could be very good, don't you think?
Yes. I do Southern Miss or Campbell.
Before Southern Miss.
Yeah, Campbell, I think, they've kind of made a transition, into scholarships. And J.B. Grimes, the O-line coach at Auburn, his son's on that staff.
Is he the head coach?
No, he's not the head coach. I tell you who the head coach is Mike Minner, the former linebacker at Nebraska, and he'll do a great job as a defensive guy. JB's son is actually the offensive coordinator there now, and I think they're going to get better and better. And I know just watching a little bit of them, they're going to have a pretty good team. We're going to be ready to play.
The coaching fraternity is just real unreal. Now we're talking, of course, you went through Auburn, and of course I'm sure you had a good experience there. Learned a lot of football, I'm sure, at the same time. Mummy was an offensive guy. It's like you know, a lot of coaches. It'd be like a so-called offensive coordinator telling Steve Spurrier what to call.
Yeah.
I mean, he wants to call. I mean, the plays. Isn't that right?
Yeah, who Hal you're talking about?
Yeah. Hal Mummy.
He's always called him, I think, wherever he's been. Mike Leach is doing it now. You know, he left Oklahoma, you know, where he was coordinator, and went to Texas Tech. Now, you know, Mike Leach has won at two places that has been hard to win, Texas Tech and Washington State. And I think the offense gives him an opportunity. It's unique. It's different. He believes in it, and that's kind of what you have to do to be really good on offense. You got to, whatever it is you choose to do, whether it's triple option or whether it's air raid, you got to believe in it and practice it all the time.
All right. Of course, we're talking Max about him bringing in these guys and getting this guy from Jacksonville State who had been proving himself at Jacksonville State. Had an Oklahoma connection, and you get a chance to bring him in. Of course, he wants to work for a 1A program, and he got an opportunity.
Yeah, well, Brandon Hall is our coordinator, and he had been here as special teams coordinator. Did a great job. They were really good on special teams. And the one guy he wanted was Andrew Warwick, who came in from Jacksonville State, who actually kind of replaced Brandon at Jacksonville State from Clemson. He was kind of an analyst at Clemson, and then Andrew's now the inside linebackers coach here, and really sharp guy. Really was pleased with the spring and the progress the defense made, and I think our guys enjoyed being around him.
And you get one of the bright young coaches in America to come in here and coach offensive line. He was a great player. You coached him, and tell us about him.
Well, Ryan Pugh is obviously his dad was my O-line coach several times, Tony.
It's all about who you know.
and Ryan actually, when he finished at Auburn. Played a little bit with Carolina. When he got cut, he came and was my line coach at Spain Park, and then he got into college football, and we stayed close. And
you gave him the opportunity to get back to college.
I did. Well, I gave him the opportunity to get him coaching at Spain Park, and then he went to Auburn as a GA in 2012. But he's really one of the sharpest young coaches I've been around. He'll do a great job here. Our players love him, and that's important to me.
Before we leave the Auburn, there's no question in my mind, and the Alabama folks and some people. Auburn fans, the most rabid fans in the world. That had to be quite an experience, especially kick. What was the kick return?
The kick six, yeah. Auburn's got great fans, and Alabama does too. I just think football in general in the South is huge. Fan bases love it, and I think that's what makes it special. And we have the same thing here at Troy. These people here love Troy football, and they do a great job. I mean, I've met so many Troy people that love coming to all our games.
Coach, we're going without a break. Is that all right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you need to talk to anybody? Of course, ladies and gentlemen, Chip Lindsey, the new head football coach at Troy. Of course, you have hit the ground running, putting together your staff. Boy, keeping Bam really is going to help you too.
I think Bam Hardman is a guy that I made a priority. I mean, he's just obviously he was a great player at Florida.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably the best player on our staff. Maybe Dabber, but Bam's done an excellent job recruiting Jacksonville, Florida, 5-hour drive, and getting kids here from
already. I met a kid the other day that I think that he's got coming in, a very impressive looking kid.
I can see that recruiting is a big focus of yours, and you know the area like the back of your hands. I mean, and the coaches.
Recruiting's the key to everything. I mean, the plays are great, the schemes are great, but if you don't have players to make plays, you're going to be in trouble.
Most of the time, the parents do have a lot to. Max, you can agree with here. I think the parents make a big difference on where a kid goes. But the next guy, the very close next second, would be his high school coach.
Oh yeah.
So you make friends with these high school coaches. Says, hey, you ought to go to Troy.
Yeah, I think that's key. You got to have a great relationship with the high school coaches. We got former high school coaches on our staff in the state. Brian Blackman, myself. We got, I think, Ryan Pugh. So I think that's really important to keep fostering those relationships with those guys too.
The word is chemistry, isn't it, Max?
Well, I'm just sitting here thinking, listening to you guys. My experience in that is that you absolutely have to have that relationship. But I don't ever remember a high school coach delivering a kid for me, but I can guarantee you there's some that kept some away.
100%.
I think that's where you have to, you have to really be careful where you go and how you handle the kids, and not only in the recruiting process, but once you get them to campus.
Well, I think,
and that has changed. I mean, you know that.
Yeah.
There's no way you could go back and do the time I came through and handle kids the way we handled them in those days and bring them, and handle them today. It's a whole different world out there. Those guys, the good ones have been we'd say, hey, here, here's a scout team plays, guys. Get up there and run it.
Right.
Now, a lot of them want to know why.
Yeah.
So I think there's a whole major difference in communication than I'd have to go through.
Well, I think you're right. I think the big thing today in these day and age, you got to get the trust of the kids first. And
Absolutely.
I think once they know you care about them, back in the old days, even when I played in the 80s and 90s, whatever they said do, you just did, And
That's right.
it's a little
That's
different
right.
now, but at the same time, we still have really good kids in college, especially here at Troy. We got a great group of guys, and all they want is to know you care about them. And once they know that and they're all in, you can get them to do things the right way and how you want to do it.
Let's talk a little bit about the team. And of course, the spring game was this past weekend, and the Grays beat the red team, Cardinal team.
White team.
The white team.
White, yeah.
That's right. And Coach, of course, and Max, how many times do you look at a team in the spring and you've got 5 quarterbacks on scholarship?
Yeah, kind of a unique situation. All 5 of those guys are talented guys, and in this day and age, you got to keep quarterbacks, on scholarship. That's just the way it is. But really pleased with the progress those guys made. I thought, Caleb was limited, just 7-on-7 coming off the knee, but he did a lot of really good things.
He's a player, isn't he, Coach?
I think so. Obviously he's a great athlete. We didn't get to see much of that because he's still limited, but all the 7-on-7 stuff, I think was good for him and made him stay in the pocket and
7-on-7 is one of the best things happening to football in general, wouldn't you think?
I think for quarterbacks, if you throw the ball, it's a great opportunity. It's not real football, we know that, but at the same time, as far as decision making and timing and all those things that go along with throwing it successful, I think it's really good. Sawyer Smith also did a great job for us. He's obviously took over last year when Kelly got hurt.
And at the end of the year was a heck of a quarterback.
He did. He righted the ship and won 10 games and won a bowl game. He's a true Troy guy. I mean, he's one of the guys that really epitomizes what I think Troy's about. Just a tough guy, gritty, playmaker kind of guy. Really like him. I thought Gunnar Watson made a lot of strides. Redshirt freshman quarterback,
big tall
from
kid.
Georgia. I really liked him. Jacob Free continued to improve as the disadvantage for Jacob is those other guys have been in a system already, Neil's system, which is very similar to what we do. Jacob was learning
from Brantley.
He was learning from scratch. So, but he's a great kid. And then we had Gavin Screws come in from Jacksonville, a true freshman.
A kid that threw 58 touchdown passes. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, he's impressive. He can really throw it now.
Yeah.
He's he's still kind of figuring it all out, and learning. But met with him yesterday. He's a great kid.
Troy's been very fortunate about the gray shirt, being a gray shirt and then red shirt. Like Watson's a good example, and then those guys in the past.
Yeah. Well, Corey Robinson did that. He was a gray shirt, then he was a red shirt.
And so did Silvers. Silvers did the same thing.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, it really adds to the experience and maturity.
Yeah.
People got to understand the word maturity. A good example of this kid going to Auburn out of high school in Birmingham, which he's very good. But I think you're in trouble if you got to play a pure freshman.
Yeah, well, I think until recently, I do believe though quarterbacks are developed more. They're developed quicker now.
Yeah.
They come out of high school, the right ones.
He's got the salt shakers every meal he makes.
They're more ready now than they've ever been. I mean, if you look around the country, some really good teams have won with freshman quarterbacks, and
some freshman quarterbacks don't play like the freshman quarterback we remember.
Yeah, I know. I agree. There's no question about it. We're going to take a short break. We're going to be right back with more of the Coach Chip Lindsey's interview, and of course Max Howell is on the phone with us, and we'll be right back.
Hey folks, are you tired of spending hard-earned money on a gas grill only to have it burn up in less than 2 years? Not to mention burning your food. Here at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, we carry the Holland Grill line. They've been around since 1988, and there are people right here in Troy that have had theirs for over 20 years. These grills are guaranteed not to flare up. You can grill, steam, or smoke on your new Holland Grill today. Come see us at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, inside Town & Country Flooring Center.
When you are handed the key to a new Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick or GMC, rev up your imagination. Think of all the places you can go in some of the most stylish, best quality cars available on the market today. Feel confident driving vehicles with superb dependability and safety ratings. And smile, you saved a ton of money because you bought at Bill Jackson. Let the only thing holding you back be the end of the road. A Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC vehicle will not only change your life, it saves you money like nowhere else.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video, and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
If you've had an accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office.
You're hitting your coffee pretty good, ain't you? Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Chip Lindsey show this morning. Appreciate Coach Lindsey coming. I know you're busy. This is a huge time. You know, coaching has changed a little bit. Man, you don't get time to do anything. I mean, you got so many camps coming in, and the camps and the 7-on-7s and the off-season stuff really keeps you busy, doesn't it?
Well, it does. I mean, recruiting, obviously, you know, you're always in contact with recruits. And, you know, when May gets here and we got Trojan Tour going around, I'll be on the road talking to Troy fans. And our coaches are out recruiting, and the head coach is not allowed to get out and recruit in the spring. So they sign him up for all these speaking events, which is fine. I enjoy doing them and enjoy meeting our fans. And then we'll have camps the first 3 weeks of June. We'll get a little downtime into June, 1st of July, and get on vacation a little bit. So
it's just amazing, no question about it. You know, the hard work that goes into it. Back to your team a little bit.
Yeah.
You're looking for a big back this spring, and of course you got one. Will he be eligible or what?
Well, still don't know yet, but B.J. Smith is a returner. You know, ran for 1,000 yards. Really like him, and we kind of held him out on T-Day. He had a little ankle injury that wasn't major, but
you held out quite a few players.
We did, but you know, you got to do the smart thing, and I think what it did too is give some other guys reps that needed it, you know, to help us build some depth. But I'm really fired up about him.
You got a kid out of North Alabama, Scottsboro. That's pretty good, isn't he?
DK, he did a great job for us. Excited about him. I thought he may be the most improved guy in the spring. Really did.
Great.
And then Jabir Fry's another guy that's been here. He's a little dynamic guy.
He got his feet back. He had to have surgery.
No, he's in good shape.
Well, just ask Clemson. He went about 70 yards against Clemson. You know, walked away from everybody, and he broke some of Emmett's records in Pensacola. Did you know that, Max?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I followed those guys. I still keep in touch.
You know, he did coach two pretty good players. You know that Emmett Smith and
makes you a pretty good coach, doesn't it?
Hey, when are you gonna send prime time up here to talk to our players?
Coach, like I said, I knew how to read a roster. I was fortunate enough I had Emmett and Skip, and I went from there to Florida State and Dion.
That's pretty good.
Emmett right and Emmett left. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right,
I
Coach.
just told him one time practice started every day.
All right, Coach, let's finish the offense. Of course, you're running back to receivers. How do you look?
Really impressed. Luke Whittemore had a great spring. He's a guy that's just a lunch pail guy, comes every day to practice and works hard.
He catches the football.
Got great hands. Reggie Todd had a great spring, a junior college kid we brought in.
Big receiver.
Big wide out. I thought Trey Eford really did well.
Fast.
We moved him inside, and he adjusted really well. Brett Clark also had a strong spring. Demontrez Brown, I thought, was solid. And then Khalil McLean's the other big guy we brought in on the outside. He's a guy that played quarterback in high school, so he's transitioned to receiver.
That is something. And of course, I want people to hear this. You'll carry 10 to 13 to 14 receivers.
Yeah, probably so, yeah. When I traveled in '92, we carried 4 wideouts. I was
Oh,
one
God.
of 4, so that tells you what we were running.
Yeah.
But
of course, now, so looks pretty good. You look like you got pretty good depth at running back and receiver.
I think so. I think we got some playmaker, and the key for us this spring was install the base offense and defense, and then identify our playmakers. So I think we got a chance to do that. We got one more receiver that's coming in this summer, a junior college guy that'll be here in May.
That's great.
Excited about him as well. So
I
think we're in a good spot in the skill position.
And of course, kicking game. You got one of the best kickers in the country. I believe he might could play at the next level.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Tyler Sumter. He's a Spain Park guy. So
he did.
He was a young guy when I was there, but I remember him being in the middle school, and you know, I think he's done a really solid job for us.
He
and
kicks the ball high,
He
Coach.
does. He gets it off the ground quick, which is good. You need that.
And then he punts. I mean, the punter in
He does.
that helps a little bit as far as your numbers when you got a
Yeah.
kicker and a punter. Is
Well,
that
you don't
right?
really appreciate a snapper or a kicker till you don't have one.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And that's what I think as the head coach for me, I was trying to make sure that we're set up. And I know we signed a Jack from Dothan, Jack Martin, that we thought was going to be pretty good too. So we got 2 or 3 good kickers on our team right now. We're going to need them.
Okay, of course, the offensive line, you feel like it's going to be solid?
I do. We should have 4 starters back. We know 3 of them are out this spring, different things, just cleaning up injuries from the fall. But we held those guys, and we were able to play some other guys and try to build some depth. We need 10 guys that can play.
On the defensive side, Coach, defensive line, of course, you lost some good players.
We did.
The nose guard is so important because you got to have a guy that can make 2 people have to block it.
I agree.
Right?
I agree. Well, Brandon and them were doing a great job of moving the front, but I think that was an area of concern for us is the depth there in the D-line.
Yeah.
Max will tell you if you don't have a bunch of D-linemen, you can roll in and out of there. Those guys get tired, and you're going to be thin, and it's going to hurt you. But really like the progress. Davern Williams coaching those guys has made a lot of progress with them, and I think we're going to add 2 more guys here late that are going to help us, and we're going to be fine there.
That's
I think.
great. 2 of the toughest are the 2 positions that I worry about more than any is quarterback and a rush in.
Yeah.
Those are probably the 2 most important players on the field.
I agree.
Because you got to have somebody who's going to create havoc. Is
I
that
agree.
right?
You need somebody to get after the quarterback, and people that can affect the quarterbacks are the guys that you need on
Have you got
defense.
some rush in?
We do. I think Zoe Bridges had a great spring. I think he'll do a great job for us working in there.
We say he's out of Opelika or Central
he
Big
is.
City.
He is Opelika. And then, I think, obviously Cholo was a really good freshman for us last year. He's back. He can push the pocket in the middle.
Yeah.
And then Brandon and them do a great job of moving it and bringing linebackers. And I'm excited about that unit. I do think we still got some work to do there, but I think when it's all said and done, we'll have a good defense.
Linebackers, how they look right now?
Look good, Carlton Marshall was a freshman All-American. I mean, you look at him and you wouldn't pick him out of a lineup saying he's an All-American, but the guy makes every tackle. He's just got a knack for it. One of the leaders on our defense, so excited about him.
It'd be a sophomore.
Be a sophomore, yeah. And we're looking for a will linebackers, to be honest, to step up. We're got to make sure we get that solidified as we go into fall camp.
Your secondary, of course, at this level, man, it's hard to find 4 that can gel.
It is. I think we got a lot of bodies back
5
there.
or 6. How many do you play?
Well, we'll play 4, usually 5. That nickel, usually we call him a spear, is a guy that is a combo guy, safety kind of linebacker kind of guy. But I think our deal is we got to find the right combination back there, and that's something we'll be looking for in the fall.
You feel like your overall chemistry was good, Coach?
I do. I feel really good about that. We got great kids here. The one thing the previous staff did is recruited Alabama well and recruited great kids, and we're going to continue to recruit the same way.
Let me say this, Max. You've heard me say this a few times. Of course, you said the same thing. We sure are pretty.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that old joke that he looked like Tarzan, but he played like James. But we talk about pretty. We are pretty. Don't you agree, Max?
Oh, I'm telling you, man.
You look at his football.
I was always big for him getting off the bus. But once they put the headgear on, I'm for that guy's gonna go after him, and I think Coach will absolutely agree. It's one thing to look good, but it's even a better thing if they'll play. When that whistle blows, you got to have somebody.
Quickly on the schedule, of course, we got Campbell, and then we're going to be off for a week, and then we'll play a big home game. Hopefully, we'll fill it up against Southern Miss.
Yes, we start with Campbell, who I think is going to have a good team. Southern Miss, traditionally, obviously, always good. And I think that's a good rivalry. Us and Southern Miss playing is a good thing for college football. And
then we go to Tire Town, Akron. We're going to play the Zips up there, and they're getting better. Of course, Bowden's not there anymore. Terry Bowden's not there anymore. And then a trip to Columbia, Missouri to play Missouri.
Right.
And that's a big game for us. Hey, I think we can go in there and beat them, don't you?
Well, I think we'll go in and play hard. I believe that, and I think we'll go in there and we'll go in there with excited to be there. I can promise you that.
That word "play hard" is so important. I mean, you could have an All-American, but if he doesn't play hard, all this stuff about 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. Give me a 3-star that play hard.
Yeah, and I tell you what, this day and age, and Max will attest to this. You need guys that love football. some of these guys love recruiting more than they love football. They really do. I mean, they put out on Twitter, my 500th offer or whatever, and nobody really cares except them. My thing,
I'm gonna tell you, Coach, and you know this. I love those that love practice.
Me too.
That's the one. That's the one. I don't want to hear one. Well, he's a practice player or he's a game player. No. If you can't produce,
right.
I'm not gonna play him. If he doesn't work hard in practice. How do you know he's going to work hard on Saturday?
Well, I think people forget. College football, Max, it's a job, man. It's busy. These kids are training year round. They're going to class, and you're holding them to a high standard outside of football, and they got to love it. They got to want to be here and be a part of it.
And of course, season tickets are on sale right now, and we need to go ahead and get those done. And I've already bought mine. But Coach, I want to mention one other thing too that that we've got to be concerned about is this conference. There's not a bad team in this conference.
No.
And of course, you're lucky or fortunate to play Appalachian State and Georgia Southern in Troy. But then, of course, you're going to have to go to Arkansas State.
We'll get them at home.
So we got Arkansas State, those three,
Yeah, we get App State, Georgia Southern, Arkansas State, all at home. South Alabama, all at home.
That's a great schedule, home schedule,
South
folks.
Alabama on a Wednesday night. Go ahead and talk to your preacher about doing your services on Tuesday. But this might be one of the best schedules ever.
We got a great home schedule, and it's good because our fans will be there, and it'll help. It'll help tremendously, and it's not going to be easy. I told our players this, and we're having exit meetings right now. Nothing's going to be easy. We got a target on our back, and but at the same time, we just got to lock arms and do this thing together and love each other. And if we do that, I think good things are going to happen.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for giving us your time. Coach Chip Lindsey, ladies and gentlemen, the new head football coach at Troy, and of course, you've hit the ground running. Nothing's changed as far as your recruiting. You're recruiting pretty much the same base that you did at Auburn.
100%.
People say, "Oh, Auburn's recruiting him." But Troy recruits the same people. Is that right? You ran Troy a lot, didn't you?
Yeah. What's interesting is when the recruiting process starts, some of these guys believe they're going to play in the SEC because certain schools are, talking to them, sending them letters, whatever. But at the end of the day, we just stay with them, and a lot of them end up here at Troy and end up being really good players for us.
Go Trojans!
All right, thank you.
Hey, Coach, good luck, and I'll be in and out of Troy all summer. I'll see you next fall.
Yeah, come see us. Okay.
Stay with us, Max. We'll be back to more of Today in L.A. Thank you, Coach.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
Hey folks, are you tired of spending hard-earned money on a gas grill only to have it burn up in less than 2 years? Not to mention burning your food. Here at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, we carry the Holland Grill line. They've been around since 1988, and there are people right here in Troy that have had theirs for over 20 years. These grills are guaranteed not to flare up. You can grill, steam, or smoke on your new Holland Grill today. Come see us at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, inside Town and Country Flooring Center.
Sit on.
Exactly
I think that's huge for them. I really do. Yeah. The Wednesday night game, though, that's all about TV. We know, but that's probably the only wrinkle you got in there. as far as your crowd's concerned.
Boy, just think, with your season tickets, you get South Alabama, you get Arkansas State, you get Appalachian State, you get Georgia Southern, and those are some real good football.
Yeah.
Southern Mississippi.
You got Southern Mississippi. Boy, that is the best season package I've seen, and I think in Georgia State. Is Georgia State this year?
Oh yeah, I hadn't actually looked at home and away, but the schedule itself is really. And I was sitting there listening to you guys talk about it, Mike. The fact is, he's got to build some depth because with opponents like that, you're gonna have some bumps and bruises.
Yeah. All right, hold on. I'm gonna bring you right back on. Are you on?
Yeah, I'm on.
All right, let me bring him back on now. Shoot. Yeah, all right, Max, you back on?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, here we go. 1 second. There we go. I think. Now he's back. We got to bring him on. Well, I think I missed him. Might have missed everybody. All right, everybody's on now. Is that right?
I'm here.
Yeah, man.
Everybody's on now. Yeah, good. Finally it worked.
You just couldn't get us on when Chip Lindsey was on.
I know it. I hated that. I know you probably had some
You
questions.
know, I was able to watch it live on Facebook, though, so I heard the whole conversation.
Isn't that unreal? Live on Facebook. Isn't that something, Max?
I love it, man.
Max
Modern
Howell
technology, Mike.
Everybody's on Facebook across the road. Max Howell is on Mike Amos's show, and of course I know y'all not up yet.
Isn't that funny though how Chip Lindsey was a young high school coach and called into Max's talk show? That was pretty funny.
All right, Rice, you're sort of an outsider looking in. Were you impressed with him?
Very impressed.
Hey, this guy's the real deal, Coach.
And I before I came on, I did some research and looked at his history, and what I was struck by is just everywhere he's coached at pretty much won big, or they had big improvement once he got there. So that bodes well for us.
Auburn, anybody in the country, you could take the finest offensive minds in the country and to coach for Malzahn, and Malzahn is still going to want to call the plays.
That's right.
All Malzahn needs is a graduate assistant telling him what down in yardage it is. You know, that's the only thing you need to know is down in yardage. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Listen, he's finally acknowledged he's going to take it all this year, so it all rests on his shoulders. But we all knew what was going on. I mean, Chip ain't going to go publicly with it, but you sit and talk to him, he'll tell you right quick. He'd call a play, and Gus would change it.
That's right. Got to the huddle. I've heard some people tell me that he would have to send word to say, Coach, can I call this play? You know, which is
right.
great. Yeah.
Absolutely right.
But, you know, let me just say this more than anything. He was Auburn's offensive coordinator for 2 years, and, hey, this guy was trying to help the coach keep his job. It was probably no tougher place in the country to have to be an offensive coordinator, wouldn't you think?
No, I
to please everybody. You know, at Auburn, the Auburn fan base is hard to please.
Well, I'll tell you, that team 2 years ago, from a big part of that season, looked like the best football team in America. And then they had their running back got hurt.
Kerryon Johnson got hurt against Alabama, and then the same against Georgia.
And then that big kid got hurt too. You know.
The Petway kid didn't pan. He got hurt.
That's right.
You know, guys, let me just tell you, that wasn't Chip's and Gus's fault. That was a recruiting base. They didn't have enough depth. They didn't. And Mike, if you listen to the conversation, we talked about that a while ago with Coach Lindsey about recruiting. You've got to continue to do that and build the depth. Yeah. In particular, that was what I said to you right before you went to break. With Troy's schedule this year, even though it's very favorable being at home, that's going to be some tough teams. He better have 10 defensive linemen, 10 offensive linemen he can play.
If you remember at Auburn, they lost that great back to Jacksonville State. You remember that, Mike? I don't know if you ever did.
Rock Thomas.
Yeah, did he?
Yeah.
Is he still at Jacksonville State, or is he gone now?
I think he's in the
pros. For the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah. Okay, so that hurt Auburn too, no question about it. So it's Max Howell's on our show, and Max.
Look at how he developed the Mullen kid out of Spain Park and what he did at Southern Miss, and then he ended up starting for the 49ers last year because Jimmy Garoppolo got injured. So,
That's true.
You know, he knows how to coach quarterbacks.
And Coach, his offense is in, I want to say, 2015, with over 6,000 yards in total offense. That was phenomenal there.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I certainly wasn't going to ask him on the air, but he said he had two experienced quarterbacks. We know that. Somebody's got to step up, though, and I'm sure he's not going to try to use two. It'll be somebody that will emerge as a number one, and then he'll have twos and threes. But what are you going to do with fours and fives?
Exactly.
You going to change them?
Somebody's going to have to. Somebody be leaving.
How you going to keep them happy?
Yeah, you're right.
Well, can't you can, ideally, you want to stagger these classes where each player can see that, you know, I'm going to get, if I hang around, I'm going to get a chance to play for 2 years. You know,
But that
the free kid out of Brantley, though, he had transferred in from Vanderbilt. He went to Vanderbilt, then Mississippi Junior College, and then to Troy. So I'm sure they didn't even think they were going to get that kid.
And you know something else too. He's also a real good baseball player. I thought that he might want to play baseball. He's a pretty good pitcher, they say.
You know, you go back and look, guys. You're right, Mike, on your observation about kids thinking, "Well, I got 2 years." But just remember, the really good ones, they will leave after their junior year.
Yeah. And if he don't think he's the best, I don't want him, Coach. If he don't believe he's the best, I don't want him.
When you coach Emmitt Smith, what did Emmitt Smith run the 40 in? Wasn't he like a 4.5?
He was a 4.5, and I held his watch on him.
See, I didn't realize he was that fast.
Oh yeah, he was a legit 4.5.
Yeah.
But the key to it, guys, was his vision and his able to start and stop. He could start.
I was at the game when he played Alabama as a freshman. He ran up and down the field on Alabama.
224 yards.
Yeah, I was at that game too. And I tell you something too. What he does that a lot of people don't realize, he actually stops. So when he gets the ball, he'll stop right at the line of scrimmage. Then bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
He makes that quick
Great
step.
vision. He really did. Here's the thing that few people, they never talk about that. He absolutely had the worst ankles that I've ever seen in all the years I coached. I mean, not only we have to retape him sometimes at the quarter, and sometimes at a halftime, and we held him out of some ball games along the way because we didn't want him to get hurt. We tried to save him for the playoff games. But he was just a tough, hard-nosed, what we call country tough, and strong as a bull. I'm telling you, you couldn't. I always say you couldn't cut him with a knife. He had no body fat.
And another thing too, he's a decent young man now. And don't get me wrong, Primetime I'm sure is a great guy too, but he was more show business than Emmitt. Emmitt never. I can't remember Emmitt ever being a show guy. You know.
Emmitt came up very. His mom and dad both were very influential in the community. One worked for a TV station, the other worked for the bank, and I mean they were very substantial people. He had 4 brothers and sisters, and he's got a son, guys. It's like the third Russian running back in the state of Texas right now.
Oh, that's
he's been offered all over the Southeastern Conference. I don't know where he's going to go. Alabama's really pursuing him hard right now.
Max, so as an outsider looking in a way, of course you're a Troy alumnus too, but what do you think about Troy? Give us your analysis.
I think he kept it. What I saw in the spring, and of course I was there the week before, standing down on the sideline watching them. They're very fundamentally sound. I'm worried a little bit about the depth. I think Neil left with 15 starters coming back on both sides. So I think I think they got a chance. But he's got to have depth.
Especially, now everybody wants to substitute their defensive lineman every third play. He needs to be able to at least do that, don't you think?
Well, listen, you're right. You've got to have, you talk about, and I didn't interrupt while ago, he's talking about playing hard. Mike, you can't play hard if you don't have some substitution.
Yeah.
Because your wheels won't last. I don't care how good a shape you're in.
Yeah.
In particular with offenses now running 60 and 70 and 80 plays, you got to play defense. You got to have guys. So you got to have 25 or 30 players on the defensive side that can play.
Yeah. I meant to ask this. You talk about that playing quick, playing fast. Saban was totally against that. Now he plays fast a little bit, but playing fast by him raising so much cane. and with the opportunity to substitute your defense or your offense when the other team substitutes, you know, that pass thing's gone away. Don't you agree?
Well, yeah. Well, the head linesman controls that, Mike. You know, he's going to stand over the ball and the substitution takes place.
I know, but what I'm saying, it allows the offense, like the offense substitutes 3 players. That means the defense can substitute 3 players. Isn't that right?
Absolutely.
Which just put a stop to all that.
And he stands over the ball.
Yeah, not like he was
They
just
can't run it
saying.
quick. You know, the referee stands over until they substitute.
Yeah, I know it.
I don't understand football at the level you guys do, but my observation has been watching teams is you got to have depth on the defensive line,
especially defense. Yeah.
I mean, because those guys do get tired. You need people that can disrupt the quarterback and stop the run. But if you just got 3 or 4 guys that are going to play the whole game, you're in trouble.
Well, I just say this, Max, and I know you'll agree with this. If you don't, if you're not strong up front on offense and defense, you're not going to win. I mean, there's just no way you're going to win.
It's all got to start, and you know, in particular, guys, when you get to 300+ pounders, I don't care how much they would and how much you practice, they can't play 50, 60 snaps. Yeah, that's impossible.
Yeah. Max, we mentioned something the other day. You know, people said, well, you know, everybody's got 25 scholarships. What the big boys are doing, you go to Alabama's practice, even Ole Miss's practice, and Auburn's practice. The guys are big old tall guys, 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". Troy don't get those guys. Troy gets the 6'2.5", 6'3", 6'4", possibly some 6'5" guys. But that's what you notice more than anybody with the big boys is how big they are. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I don't think you did it out. Of course, the skill level that that they possess as well, Mike. And again, that's why the teams that play the Clemsons and Alabamas and the Auburns, those teams, they recruit nationally.
I know, but and at the same time though, they can't get any more players than we can, but they can get the bigger, more dominant players.
That's very true. They can go to California and get them, and go to New Jersey to get them, or whatever it takes. As opposed to in Troy, I think Neil had and I didn't ask Coach Lindsey this, but he had what he called a 4-hour rule. He recruited primarily 4 hours from the kids.
That's right, yeah.
And what that ensures is the parents can come see them play. The fan base from the local communities can come see them play. And there's really, and also, Mike, you and I talked about this on the air. That quarterback was from Fife, Alabama.
The quarterback's from Priceville, little old bitty town outside of Coleman and outside of Decatur, that area.
I was looking at my media guides for some research I'm doing on the book. I was struck by where Alabama's players, 75-80% of the roster used to come from the state of Alabama.
That's right. That's true.
2 years ago, not this recruiting class, but the one year before last, Alabama only had signed 2 players from the state of Alabama, and one of those was a gray shirt.
Yeah.
A late addition when they lost somebody else. So they really were just planning to have 1 out of 25 players. So that's kind of, as an Alabama fan, that kind of alarms me a little bit, but it also opens up a huge opportunity for the other colleges in the state if Alabama's only signing 1 guy from your state.
But there's no question that Georgia and Florida are playing better football than Alabama, wouldn't you think?
Well, you go back and look, and I think the
more players.
The clowning thing that Kirby's done at Georgia is recruit. The coaching on the sidelines presents another whole story. We'll get into that some closer to the season. But the fact, and I don't know where you saw yesterday, they fired 2 of the recruiting guys yesterday at Georgia.
No.
I don't know something's going on over there internally that I'll be anxious to really, really watch. But the first thing you got to do, guys, is get them there. You got to get that depth. And Mike, I'm going to tell you, you talked about just having a few players. When Coach Bryant came in 1958, that was a main emphasis. He had to rebuild the program and get the fan base back. So they concentrated on the state. Now they've got national TV and they got the SEC network, and the fan base can watch the games. And they've traded the recruiting in state for championships.
That's right.
That was the trade-off. If they've gone out of state and not winning championships, guys, the fan base will drop. I can promise you that.
No question about it. Of course, I want to remind you of Troy Fest this weekend, and that's going to start on Saturday morning That's always a big day. I'm sure you'll be downtown, won't you?
Oh, of course, yes.
And then, of course, we've got baseball this weekend. A lot going on, and
They've changed the rules in college football with targeting. Now the actual, if there's no targeting, they're going to take away that 15-yard penalty. Now that they went ahead and changed that rule, and also overtime, due to the 7 overtimes from LSU and A&M last year, it's going to go to 5 overtimes max, and then after that, you're going to run 2-point conversions to decide a winner.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, they do that anyway, don't they?
Hopefully, you'll never go to 5 overtimes, though.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I sit there and watch that LSU and Texas A&M game that Saturday, and I got back up Sunday morning and watched it again. 71. That was an unbelievable game. 72.
So what you're talking about, after 5, they just what they do the 2-point extra point, and who wins from there? Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, to determine a winner.
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, it's right. You got too many guys getting injured, don't you, Max?
Oh, listen, that's what in that play. I just read the numbers this morning. 207 offensive snaps between the two. Well, I mean, you don't have enough depth to play that many football defense.
They were guys cramping up. They couldn't even finish the game.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. And they were down. I remember hearing people saying Auburn, I think, played one. It was like 5 overtimes against Georgia one year, and they didn't even have enough kids. They were almost like dressing out the managers to finish the game.
I know, you're right.
Enough.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there lies the problem, and I absolutely agree with that move. I think.
All right. Well, Max, tell us about what's for dinner. What's for dinner?
Well, let me just tell you, Mike. I cooked for 30 people on Sunday down the river. We did hamburgers, hot dogs, and ribs. And I'm telling you, man, we had about 15 kids. Took them out on the river on the boat, let them do that while they hit all the eggs. When they came back, they all had a hamburger and a hot dog.
How do you keep your ribs from burning?
How?
Yeah, turn them all the time or what?
No, I baste
slow, man.
I turned them. I baste them. Every time I flip them, I baste them. And I baste them with what I use is an Italian dressing.
But your barbecue has a vinegar base. Is that right?
Well, I use a vinegar and salt base now. A lot of times I do. But I marinate them in an oil, Mike, to give it. And I punch them. I take a knife or fork and
like Italian dressing or something like that.
Yes, an Italian dressing. That's right off the shelf. Now, when I turn them on the grill, when I put them on the grill, though, I use a vinegar salt, and I use some of vinegar brown sugar on different ones. A lot of people don't like the salt base, so I use the brown sugar to give it a little.
What kind of dessert did you serve this weekend?
Oh man, listen, we had about 5 pies, Mike. We had everything from chocolate to lemon meringue. I'm telling you, it was a feast. If you just seen all, and most all the food, I brought home, I guess, a half a dozen hamburgers, maybe. I think one whole pie was not eaten.
Yeah, I got
I brought the coconut pie home. But other than that, everything else was eaten. We had potato salad. We had broccoli salad.
Now, do you make potato salad?
I make potato. Yeah, I do.
All right. Now, do yours is it with mustard or mayonnaise?
I do one of each. I got one of each.
Gosh. You need to have a cooking show, Max.
All right, but now what kind of pickles? Sweet pickles or dill?
Max has got cooking books.
Hey, Max, do you go with dill pickles or sweet pickles?
No, sweet pickles. I
like it too. And I like my potato salad warm. Do you ever?
Oh yeah, I've done that before. Yeah. It depends on where you are, Mike, and what kind of group.
Oh yeah, no question about it.
If it's an indoor group, it's a sit-down dinner and all the warm potato salad. You don't do a warm potato salad when you're cooking on an outdoor pit, though, and feeding everybody out on the deck.
I agree.
They don't that warm potato salad. That's why.
Well, thank you so much, Max. We appreciate you joining us this morning.
Enjoyed it, Mike. Always my pleasure.
All right, buddy. Have a great week.
See you guys.
That's Max Howell calling from Folsom, Mississippi. Bill Rice Jr. has been our guest, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate so much Chip Lindsey. I don't think Troy's going to miss a beat. I think this guy's right down the line. He's a humble guy. Hey, he's put together a good staff. Again, isn't it amazing about who you know
Yeah,
college
that was
football.
the theme of that conversation.
All of these guys, I mean, they were from
It's all
Tony Bryant.
networking.
It's all networking, and so it, you know, hey, come with me, come with me, come with me. They are loyal to each other.
You know, I've often thought everybody makes a big deal of playing in the NFL. I would tell a young person that had some talent and liked coaching, you try to go into coaching and coach at the Division I level now.
The money is real good.
You're going to make more money than any doctor or lawyer.
And have a lot more longevity, you know.
I mean, I think your son said the other day that Alabama's strength and conditioning coach is making $600,000 a year.
No question about it. Mike, have a good one, buddy. We'll see you later.
He's already gone off.
Ladies and gentlemen, hope you had a great morning. That was a great show. We will be showing this again today at 1:30. We appreciate our staff here so very much. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, for Today in L.A.